Got scraps? Then you've got everything you need to make these adorable little trees. Today I'm showing you how to turn creative clutter into something playful and beautiful. So if you've got leftover painted papers, old palettes, or collage bits piling up in your space, you are in for a treat. We're transforming all those forgotten treasures into something whimsical and beautiful art trees that bring a pop of color and instant cheer any time of year.
Hi, I'm Tish Reed from Create to Breathe, and I was doing a little studio clean out, and I don't know if your studio starts to look like mine after a while, but I'll end up with piles and piles and piles of painted papers and maybe some gel prints and maybe some paintings that didn't really go much of anywhere, or maybe some canvas prints that didn't print out quite right. Let's see, what else do I have over here? This is another painting that didn't really do quite what I thought. I was just going through my junk drawer, but I know that we all have tons of this, right? Like by the end of the year, things are starting to get a little full. And I know that it's so fun to make gel prints especially, or to do painted papers. And I'm terrible about saving and wanting to use everything. This is just an old piece of palette paper from a wet palette that I had. So swatches, you know, everything is all here because I won't let any of it go. But today I'm going to show you how to make something wonderful, especially this holiday. We're going to create some of these magical little painted paper trees. And I'll tell you what, these are so fun. They're fun to put up around the holidays, yes, but they're also fun. I keep them up in my studio all year round, and I love to give them as gifts. So anyway, they are so much fun. Let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is actually to start cutting down these pieces of paper so that we can use them on our trees. And even if you're somebody who doesn't have a lot of painted papers around, even just using like old magazines, if you have collage paper or journaling paper, things like that, anything, even junk mail that comes in that you want to be able to cut up and create something else new with it, kind of upcycle it, this is a great opportunity for you to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the world's most ridiculous oversized paper cutter that I just absolutely had to have, and we're going to start by cutting these down. I told you, I was not lying. It is really the world's most ridiculously oversized paper cutter. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my first sheet and put it in. And I'm not measuring, I'm just roughly. Because measuring is no fun. And we want to keep this project fun. I have some pieces, and we're just going to keep going. Okay, friends, I think we have more than enough that we need to be able to create our trees. So, look at all that. Okay, so we're ready to start making our trees. What you're gonna need are some of these 1/2-inch glue sticks and a glue gun, a little craft glue gun. I already got mine heating up, so hopefully it'll be ready here in a minute. You also have to have all your calluses ready, because you without doubt will burn yourself several times with the hot glue. So just be prepared, get tough. I wanted to show you, this is actually like a paper form, like almost like a cardboard form that I got at Hobby Lobby that I used on this tree. The ones that we're going to use today, this is a number 12 craft foam cone, and you would get this like in the floral section. I think I got this one at Michael's craft store. And so we're going to start by working on these. Now, if you're worried about seeing the foam on the bottom, you could put just a simple piece of paper on the bottom just to cover that up, which maybe I will. I'm thinking maybe I will. So I think I will just get just one of these random sheets of paper I have over here. I'm going to draw a circle around it, just because you don't want to see the styrofoam when you pick it up. It's just not cute. Styrofoam is not cute. And then I think I'm going to draw too, like just around the inside. And then I'm roughly going to cut this outside circle. And you'll see in a second what I'm doing here. So now I'm just going to kind of go around that edge and cut some little slits into that so I can fold it up around the outside of the bottom of that tree. Cover up that yucky foam. Okay, so I can smell the glue getting hot. I think we're ready. And you're going to use a lot of glue for this project. Okay, so I'm going to stick that down. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'll go around this part. And now I'm just going to fold that up onto the tree. The hard thing about foam is that the glue is so hot still that it kind of wants to melt the foam instead of stick to it. So you have to kind of wait until that sweet spot where like the glue is tacky, but it's not so hot that it is going to melt the tree itself. So just give it a second and it'll stick back down. Okay, so now we have a nice bottom to our tree. I think that looks a lot better than just seeing styrofoam there. Now the next thing that we're gonna do, I also have just a pair of scissors. So we have these cut down, right? But what we want to do is to cut them a little bit into like a long tier shape. So, and you know, this just takes a little bit of play to figure out what exactly is the right shape. So I'm going with something that kind of looks a little bit like this, just a long tier shape. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut another one. And I think I'm gonna make this one go this way. This was that palette paper. And then I had, so I usually just throw all my garbage on the floor and then I have such a mess by the time I'm done. But so what we're gonna do here is you'll see around the bottom of this tree, I just start kind of down at the bottom and start placing papers. So this one, you can kind of curl them with your fingers as you go. But you'll see, like, depending upon how far I glue it up, that's how far the little branches are gonna stick out on the bottom. So if I put it up really far, you know, we need to make sure that enough of it sticks out that we can kind of gradate up to the top. So we're gonna just start at the bottom. And I think that that is a good distance out from the tree. And I'm just gonna make my way around. So now I have two of those. So the trick is, as you move around the tree, you want to just keep varying the patterns that you're using. So now I'm going to find a different pattern in my pile. And use that. So So now I have those 3. And the idea is that we just keep working our way up the tree until we get to the top. So I'm going to take us through that a little more quickly with the magic of filming, and then I'm going to show you how we finish it up on top. So one thing I wanted to show you is as I'm starting the second row, you can see I'm now putting these in between the branches of the first row. So now I'm going in between each of those, and that's how I keep moving upwards. I think I burnt myself like 5 times. Ow.
Okay, so now that we are nearing the top of our tree, you can see this particular one has sort of a flat top. And so we don't want our tree to end that way. So I'm thinking that maybe I'll create like a little cone out of one of the painted papers over here and add that right on top of the tree. I'm just trying to get a feel for how big I need to make this. I'm going to add a little dab of glue to kind of hold it in place temporarily and snip off the bottom of this. So I just really have enough paper to be able to glue it down to the top of the tree. I think that's going to work. I'm a genius. Okay, I'm going to put a little glue around the top and make sure that that is stuck down. Now we've got a much better look to the top of our little tree here. That looks so much better. So I'm just going to continue on adding pieces, and the thing that's a little bit different as you get near to the top, you've got to start making your pieces significantly smaller, like shorter in length, so that when you add them, you really get that taper into the very top of the tree. A little more narrow, a little shorter as you go up towards the top.
Okay, so we're getting pretty close to the top, and as I put the pieces on, I'm just kind of wrapping them around that little cone with my fingers so that they start to encircle the top. This is a good point where you want to use some of that more text weight paper so that you can really bend it easily. And see, these are little tiny pieces that I'm cutting now to just bend around the top. Oops. I do have to put glue on first in order for it to stick. Ow. Burn myself. Again. I think maybe I just have a couple little spots I need to fill in. And I'm just looking at the colors around to see what's going to work best. There we go. Maybe one more. Let's see what will go there. Maybe another piece of this would be good. Okay, friends, I think we did it. These were so cute and so easy to make. And I hope that you will give these a try because, you know, it's kind of silly that we have all these drawers full of papers and things that we're not really using and putting into place. So let's take all that energy and effort and beauty and creativity and make it into something wonderful this holiday. I'm getting off the little glue strings as I'm turning it around. And lastly, I am going to turn this guy over and I am going to mark with my signature. And the date. And then how cute is that? I'm still picking glue off of my manicure. This is not cute. Well, glue, you live with me now. So these are two different sizes of trees. This was the tree that I showed you as the example. And this is our other one. Like, how completely adorable would these look like on a tablescape or on your mantle? Bringing some more color to the holidays besides red and green, for goodness sakes. All right, I need to go to bed.